I want to talk about how some racist black groups and sexist female groups side with Muslims. Also, the accusational like perverted groups, like the LGBTQ plus stuff. So you would think, okay, with Islam, they're cruel to women. Okay, they had black slaves. So the Muslim nations, the United States abolished slavery. Okay, predominantly white people abolished slavery in the West. All right, it spreads to the East later on. Muslim nations, continued to have slavery until like the 1970s, as late as the 1980s. It said. So Muslims had black slaves. They had them for longer. Okay, I believe there was a period of time when in European history where the whites didn't have slaves, while the Muslims did. In like around the year 1000 or something. I don't really know. But anyways, so Muslims had black slaves. Okay, they're cruel to women. They kill anybody that's not heterosexual. And but why do these groups support Islam? Well, it's because irrational groups band together against the logical law enforcing entity. So, you got a bunch of racists. Okay, they don't care who they team up with. They just want to try to promote their racist agenda. So, the ones that are combating their racism the most is the United States government, these democracies and with the freedoms and stuff. Okay, they can't take over as this, like, superior black race getting some kind of vengeance and stuff. Like, I'm sure you've heard things that they've said. So the racists team up and they just lie about what their allies represent. And same thing with the sexists. Okay, so the females, they want to take over this system, and same kind of thing. They're getting some kind of retribution against, all of man, and they'll team up with the racist and the terrorist to try to get it. They'll fight the other groups later on. You know what I mean? They just have to take down their big adversary first. So, like, these people don't have actual arguments. Okay, racism is not it's not prevalent anymore. Okay, sexism is not prevalent anymore. All right, there isn't violence towards peaceful religions anymore. Like, so they don't have an argument. They're just trying to take power as a savage. Okay, most of them know that they're just spewing nonsense. Okay, and they're just trying to use some kind of excuse to oppress people and get people in trouble and fight. Okay, most of these females in this like violent, rebellious feminist movement, they know that they're not making sense. They're just trying to gain power as a savage, and you can even have them admit it sometimes. They'll be like, I don't care, I'm just trying to get mine. Same thing with the racists. So, and the terrorists. Okay, a lot of these terrorists know that their religion's false. They've encountered the counter arguments and stuff. They know the cruelty, and they just do it because they're just cowards. So you just see how these groups band together to take down the logical people because they're illogical. Okay, and they lie about what each other represents. So like the LGBTQ plus, they go out rioting. Okay, they go out fighting people in the streets in large crowds, and if they don't let people speak out against that stuff, they go fight them, and it's aggressive, and they attack people in the professional world. They try to get people fired. They try to lie about people, and it's a takeover tactic. So they all team up with each other, okay, and they, you know, and same with like criminal organizations. You know, there are all kinds of different forms of racist. Okay, you have white racist, Hispanic racist, Asian racist, black racist, Middle Eastern racist, you know, Jewish racists, all kinds of stuff. So these kinds of people, they group together. Okay, they team up. You'll notice a lot of the times Hispanic racists and black racists will team up against whites, stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm just trying to explain to you why these groups team up with Islam, even though Islam is obviously contradictory to the cause that these other groups claim to be trying to achieve. So, you know. So this is how it works. Somebody like me says something logical like this. Okay, now, these people make money criminally. Okay, they oppress people, they threaten people, they get into positions of power, they threaten each other. All right. Now, they try to make up all kinds of stuff about what I'm saying. They try to get me censored. Okay, they probably have influence over moderation and social media and stuff in some ways. And, you know, that's just how it works. They try to get you canceled. They try to get you fired. They try to get you arrested. They try to make an excuse to go fight you, you know. So just be wise. Understand that you might get people trying to manipulate you about, you know, what I'm actually saying right now. Okay, just understand that Islam uses taqiyya, understand what taqiyya is, understand that they could use taqiyya to lie about what taqiyya is. It's just this, understand the motivations of these other groups that are promoting Islam, you know, so they just have a common enemy, and they're all nonsensical. So that's just why these groups team up like that. And the enemy is a righteous entity. It's just, you know, law-abiding people. Okay, if women argue against the sexist women, okay, they get attacked by the sexist women. If black people argue against the racist black people, they get attacked by the racist black people. You know, the apostates in Islam, okay, if somebody argues against Islam, leaves Islam, or anybody that argues against Islam, okay, you know how they're treated. So, it's a bunch of hostile groups with no righteous cause. They're just savages. They're like gang organizations and stuff. Okay, they usually recognize that they are savages, and they just have this excuse for what they're doing that, you know, has no footing, and they're aware. They just try to use it to get away with stuff. So, yeah, it's basically just a bunch of beasts trying to use intimidation to gain resources, because they can't gain resources as a logical being. If they try to do it the right way without violence and intimidation, I guess they're not talented, or they're not, you know, in the position to succeed, which not everybody is, and that's just life. So, or they're just greedy and they want more or whatever. But that's why these groups team up, even though it seems so contradictory. It's because they have this common cause, and they don't care. They're savages. Okay, they don't even believe in their cause usually. So they lie about each other. They team up, and that's just how it is.